Alright, welcome to iSocietyTv. We got a special guest in the building. You feel me? Artist extraordinaire. Top notch. Prolific. So gifted. He the type that's gonna go get it.
What's good? What's good?
My nigga Prolific Tez, welcome to the show. You feel me? Thank you for giving me some time to talk to you.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Anytime.
Now, recently you just dropped probably one of the best pieces I done seen, hands down, you feel me?
Okay.
That I can remember. And
Appreciate that.
by now, I already know thousands of people already seen that flick, you feel me?
It's going up.
So we gonna dive into that today.
Okay.
And we're gonna try to get your backstory and how you became an artist and, you know what I'm saying, what inspires you to keep going further.
Okay.
So the first question I want to ask you is, where'd you grow up? You know what I'm saying? Where you stationed out of? And go ahead and go into that.
You know, I grew up all over the IE. You know, IE baby. But childhood-wise, it was Rialto, California. Hospital I was born at was in Riverside, actually.
Okay.
Parkview Hospital. I don't remember my doctor's name. But yeah, San Bernardino, as well as the high desert too. So
okay.
But I've been around.
Okay, that's cool. What would you say is your earliest memories with art?
Man, looking back at it, well, not even looking back, currently looking back at it, it was always a artistic view or understanding, I would say.
Right.
But when it became a focal point, I would say, about 4th grade, 3rd grade type.
That's when it started to click. Like.
Yeah, that's when it started to click. You know, I look back at my kindergarten and preschool booklets I put together, and they're actually pretty creative, I would say. It was like I had a grasp already of the principles of art, but you know, I didn't understand what they were.
Right.
I would say I always drew in the lines too. That was a focus I always tried to do. I was coloring and all that stuff, you know. It got to be smooth in the lines, and the outlines always have to be dark. I always had to get the dark outlines. But it really started, well, the inspiration-wise, I'll say, was my older brother. He was a artist, as well as different people on my dad's side of the family. They have an inclined artistic view, understanding in their own way.
Right.
Different talents, you know. He was mainly, well, I can't say what he was mainly, but at the time I figured he was just a tagger. That's the majority of the stuff I seen, but it was his art that was cold.
Yeah, I mean,
I was young too. My older brother, actually, at the same time, he started freehanding at the same time I did, and tagging. He picked up the tagging part eventually.
Yeah.
More. That's all I'd say. But it was, I think it was a Disney book or something he had, like a little coloring book, and it was a picture of Goofy, and I was drawing the hands and the legs and arms and stuff together, but it wouldn't be proportionate to the body. So that right there let me know that it was a spark or something that could be.
That just opened up.
It was a epiphany, because it was like I'm able to draw the hands in the shape, but I can't get it proportionate to the body. So it was really intriguing. So from that point on, I just decided to go ham, and as I continued, I learned it was a compliment to who I was. So it just started excelling and growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy. Like, cause I remember from the day we met, you feel me?
I mean,
always was drawing something.
Every time you see me, from
really had a
I'd
project.
say like 6th grade.
Really had a project.
In 6th grade, I always had a project until I graduated high school.
I think what also sped that pace up was when we had that Japanese class in 6th grade.
Yeah.
I feel like that class had really forever changed our mindset of what we really, you know what I'm saying, thought of.
It reminded me of the time I was in elementary too, because, you know, growing up, I took pretty much the majority of all my AR tests on different places in the world, different landscapes, countries, science, you know, space.
Yeah. More
intellectual knowledge feeding. You know, I read some of, well, not some, pretty much all of the Berenstain Bears and, you know, all the good books. But I was already fascinated with the world, and Japan stuck out. Just the culture was very unique.
Yeah.
So it always stuck with me, and then once we got in that class, it was even more of a drawn feeling towards it, because it's now it's like I understand it on a higher level.
Yeah.
But saying that too, anime has had a big impact on my art.
And what would you say is the top? I got a top 4 in my head.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to see if we here with it. Cause the first one I'm off rip going Dragon Ball Z. That was the first one that really.
Well, I mean, that's the majority.
That's the
number
first
one, but I wouldn't make it my number one.
I mean, I had to go Naruto Shippuden number 2.
Okay.
3 and 4 spot. Black Clover might have. Oh no, Hunter x Hunter. I'll give Hunter x Hunter number 3.
Okay.
Feel me? Hard.
That's only few real anime.
That's what I'm saying. Hunter x Hunter. That's you feel me. But the 4th spot, Black Clover might have. You know what I'm saying? Step into that 4th spot.
They're doing something.
Feel me? So that's what I always see. Everything that you be watching.
So you said top 4?
Yeah, top 4.
I'll just throw mine out there since we're throwing it out there. I'm trying to debate if I want to do. I'll do. It's the honesty too. Things like I always gotta think about it, like which one would be number 1.
Yeah.
But I'll just say Bleach. The visuals and what they was able to convey was.
Yeah. See, my older brother used to watch that, but I really didn't even get into it.
See, Bleach was one of the first animes besides Inuyasha that I started watching, and I started watching that with my eldest brother, who used to live on the East Coast at the time. He would come visit, and it would be on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. Man, but the number 2 spot, Naruto Shippuden.
No, Shippuden is hard. Yeah,
Naruto
Shippuden hard.
Just Naruto in general, just the trilogy. And then 3, definitely gotta give it to Dragon Ball franchise.
Yeah.
And I say this is my order because I've seen so many animes, so many shows, read the mangas, so
yeah,
I feel I have some credibility and knowledge, and I like to write myself, so
yeah.
But the 4th spot, Black Clover.
Bro, hard.
But see, like Attack on Titan is good too.
That's what y'all forgot all about Attack. But that's an exclusive too.
Yeah, that's an category of its own. So I'll give it to Black Clover because it's like the newest one. My Hero is hard too, but I have to give the edge to Black Clover.
Yeah.
Black Clover definitely.
Yeah.
for fun. But back on to how it actually
impacts your art.
Impacted.
Yeah.
When I first started drawing, it was anime eyes, and this was a time right when YouTube first came out. Maybe like a year or two after it started to gain more. I would look up how to draw anime eyes, and from that it went to just faces and then the characters, then realistic eyes, and then realistic faces, and then cartoons and animes. You know, see, the thing was, I smeared it all the way up until my first actual formal training, which was in high school, my freshman year. I didn't actually get any formal training in art until 8th grade.
So up until then, it's just you all research.
Just research and just applying and trying to learn. Now I smeared, but I smeared the shit out of everything I did until I finally started learning the different dynamics of art.
Yeah.
So we can actually push forward to high school. Oh no. We can talk about 8th grade. It was the first time I started experimenting.
Okay.
It was like I did my first 2 little paintings, which I still didn't understand shading until high school. So it came out interesting. It was just me trying to copy what I seen.
Yeah.
Just my first little understanding. We watched a video about an individual who had a disorder to where they can't really have that cognitive understanding of relationships, like the cause and effect. But he's able to look at something one time and draw it. Like, he got in a helicopter over New York. He flew over it, seen it one time, got back down, and just from that one glimpse of the memory, he did the whole city in depth from like a third person perspective view. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but high school was when I met the senpai. Senpai is my art teacher, Diane Gutierrez. She taught me a lot. From the first moment I got there, she was like, I seen potential in you, and there's so much room for growth. And she says you would have to work hard and humble yourself. And from that point, it was all gas, no brakes.
I feel you.
It's funny too, like, I actually had to work to get into the class because I was in football and I had another class too, and I was getting it all switched around, and that's what it was. I had paint. It was a different teacher though, and I wanted more of the drawing technicality, so I wanted the drawing class. In order to switch into that class, it was the conflicting class was football, honestly. So I decided to drop that, which people always got something to say. But I decided to, you were one of them. But I decided to drop it and go into the art class, and from there was where I really learned the different
nuances
principles of how to create art.
Yeah. First,
it started with the shading. I would say the most dynamic piece or project that I learned throughout all of my art education was the abstract drawing with shapes. So in the first half of the freshman year, you learn all of the different things up to get to this project, which is the first final. So the first few projects is like learning negative space. It's like the chair, like here. This would be considered negative space.
Yeah.
In between the two things, that's the focal points. or the dimension or perspective. Perspective was one of the biggest things, because I seen how that was transgressed throughout not just art but everything.
Yeah.
And there was the different projects leading up to that. Oh, it was shading and lighting as well too. So it was like all of those different dynamics. You can't really teach someone art. You can only teach them the different principles that apply with it, and
they gotta connect it pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with that, it became, I'll say, repetitious, because it was like once I understood the different concepts, it all just clicked. And art complementing who I was too allowed me to excel and even convey it on a higher level as well too. It was like when those two things in the universe just like on two different ends, and they finally but I'll say it wasn't till sophomore year. I didn't really start getting nasty till junior year, but sophomore year was where the growth started to really show, because I treated the drawing 1 and drawing 2 class like it was AP.
Right.
I used to see their work, and I used to look at mine and see that it was similar, and I could go and grow and be just as good, in which I worked for that. Sophomore year was where my teacher started to really pick apart and start putting me on a path to get ready for AP art. She's like, now it's time for you to take everything that you learned and really articulate it and amalgamate each thing, you know, like the main focus in any professional or like AP is to change the things within the picture. Use the different dynamics that you understand and convey a whole good message. So there can't be no copyright or anything like that. Everything has to be changed in the picture. So that's what she started pushing me towards my whole sophomore year. And once junior year came, it was the first year of me
doing AP.
Yeah. And you know, any student who starts AP, you know, that's nerve-wracking.
Man, because I had honors sophomore year. I was like, I'm not taking AP junior year. And I was cool off that pressure.
It's a pressure that you have to live up to. It's what you asked for too.
On me, yeah.
So I was only able to really do it and flourish because of the work habits or dynamics of how I actually go through my process with art. You know, sometimes it gets to the point where I don't even sleep. It's been like that since I started drawing, honestly. I've spent just so much time just studying and really understanding it.
And that's the part a lot of people don't realize what goes into everybody's profession. You don't really see the hard OT hours you got to put in just to get to
I can honestly say, like, I'll say from 8th grade until I graduated from high school, I wanted to really put those OT hours in.
Yeah.
So I would work all night, have a few hours to sleep for school the next day, and do it all over again just to get that thing done. In 8th grade, we had to have a new drawing every Friday.
Yeah.
That was part of the grade. So I was going ham every week, and then from those habits, it just started recycling and trickling into
build your work ethic.
Yeah. High school, I did extracurricular activities freshman, sophomore year, a little bit of junior, but it kind of slowed down since I got in the AP. But I still had to do homework, maintain the regular high school day life. And I would honestly work, let's say 8 hours was the school day.
Yeah.
If you take people who do sports or in extracurricular activities, they might stay after school for up to like 3 hours.
Yeah, we was getting out of practice at like 6:30.
Yeah. So that's what, like 9 hours. And then for the people who put in OT on top of them having practice or something like that, throw in like 3 more hours.
I mean,
so what, that's like 11 to 12 hours.
Yeah.
That just a regular. I would work all the way up to like 3 or 4 in the morning, get 2.5, 3 hours of sleep, and get ready for school the next day.
Man.
I didn't find a solution to that until my junior year. Well, was it junior year? No, it was senior year. Take it back. Take it back. Junior year, I was able to only have 5 periods. Senior year, since I had got ahead in summer school, I was only eligible for 4 classes, but since I had to have 5, so I just did a extra TA period, and then didn't have a first. So still, the amount of hours was ridiculous, and not having the first period helped. But I'll still be a zombie at school like, every day. Like, if you see me, you might see me like walking by with something for a brief moment of time. But if you see me, you always seen I had a new project. Something new every time.
So how'd that process working to get into AP for the first time?
What do you mean?
Like,
sorry.
You good, bro? You good? Like,
you said it quick. It's like, what?
Yeah, like how the process of you putting all the work in, you building your work ethic, how did that help you with your AP, your first AP portfolio?
Man, well, just continuing to have that same outlook on it the whole school year when it was time to submit. Now, mind you, the AP portfolio is it's an accumulation of 24 pieces. Now, the portfolio itself is considered the actual test for AP, because if you have English AP or Spanish AP, Science AP, Math AP, whatever class you have to take the test at the end of the year to get the college credits. Instead of a test, it's the portfolio, so it gets graded the same just as the other tests.
Right.
I got 5 out of 5 both years. I did it back to back. Now, mind you, it's hard to get a 5 out of 5 on any AP tests, and I got it both years. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And validating.
And do you still have a relationship with your old teachers?
Oh yeah, I have good relationships with a lot of my teachers. I can go back to elementary school, middle school, and high school. I can say the school faculties know me from elementary all the way up into high school. I mean, elementary school, I got into student council. 5th grade, graduated, got awarded the Obama, I think it was Outstanding Achievement, presidential award, something along those lines. I got to look at the details, but it was an award from Obama. Middle school, got into the advanced art placement. High school, same thing. I was in art club. Like I said, me walking around with stuff, all of the teachers, it would be in every single classroom I had. People would see me going through the office. So I mean, that was always known
around.
So, yeah,
I mean,
so it all paid out though.
High school was pretty prestige itself. Well, the whole high school career, I should say. I got pretty much honor roll all the way through. My last year got high honor roll, or principal's honor roll, however you want to say it, as well as getting honored by Chafee Joint Union itself, the board of trustees.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's the highest of the high.
yeah. So it was a good educational career from the time I started up to now, and you know, those habits still reached out to present day, if not even more. Like the grind and hustle even amplified it even more.
Right.
You know, art now has amalgamated my life completely. This perception, like all of those things I learned, I mentioned, they've become apparent in everything around me.
Right.
Even emotion is articulated in such a way that I'm able to convey it and understand it on a whole other level. When I see people, I see every blemish highlight. I see every structure. What else? Every color shaded highlights. Every little glisten of sweat. Every shine on the hair. The whole everything. It's all art to me.
Right.
And that's what my life has become. So it's interesting to have that kind of understanding. You know? I go outside, I see the sky shaded with perfect blue, or drive down the street, see the trees fade into perspective.
Right.
It's
that lets you know everything around you is art.
Man, it's pretty amazing. I mean, even down to how they explain the universe is like
a holographic universe, so it's a flat sheeted disc that curves in a circle, and everything in the center of that, whatever it is, cylinder is like a three-dimensional hologram, basically. And that's the world that we live in. The dimension is creation. The dimension is a creation dimension. Is really the knowledge I have now too, from knowing this. It's the same thing as art. It's me taking multiple dimensions and concepts as well, and compressing them onto a two-dimensional surface, which would be the same way they describe the holographic universe.
Right.
So it's like my level of understanding is so visceral. Like it's astonishing.
And then I would say that also, for me, hearing you say that lets me know that you really gave good thought to the next piece that you did.
Oh yeah.
The Alpha and Omega. So I know you did a big reveal for that piece.
Definitely.
So that obviously is gonna mean, you know what I'm saying, that piece means a lot to you.
It does.
So go ahead and go into the process, like hearing about the call, getting the call to design it. What was that process like? Who'd you do it for? And you can go ahead and do that.
Man, just to begin with, like, this piece, the main point I want to get out is I really encoded, embedded 20 plus, however you want to say it, years of knowledge. Everything I ever learned and understand was put into this piece. It's called Alpha and Omega, by the way. Really is like life-changing, because what I went through in that time period is real. Like, all my art that I have expresses emotion or a feeling or something within my life during that time period, and that's how I convey it through the piece.
Right.
And directly, and the point that I'm at now is just like, this time is so critical and precious in my life, and having that, I was able to really give more than my all. Like, this very piece is an essence of me, my understanding who I am as a whole. But everything that is connected or I explain about this piece is true divinity. Even from how me and the client, both, how we linked up, and he decided he wanted to ask me to articulate this thought he had in his head, this idea. I'll say maybe my freshman year, he started following me, and he was always following my art, and that was when I started to get good. And as I started going, the next 2 years is when I started to sprout.
Yeah.
A lot of these that you see are like, these pieces over here on top are from 8th grade. Some right here are my freshman year to sophomore year, and then you have the 2 portfolios. This was my first one, this was my second one. My first portfolio, actually, I didn't even explain it, was the Japanese culture. That's why we explained it.
Yeah.
You make that full circle. And then my senior year portfolio, the concentration was the metamorphosis of an inanimate object. So that right there, that shows you the mindset and understanding I was having during this time period. Within those years to even come up with a concentration like that and being able to articulate that. But back to how all of those things played a key role into it. He followed, I already said that. He, I'll say 3 years after he followed me was when he asked me to create this piece. He had the idea in his head, and he told me his idea, and I'm like, wow, this is the piece I can convey all of this knowledge that
you learned
throughout my whole life process. So there was already a connect that was divinity. And it's like euphoria, because I knew what I was about to create, and once I accepted it and decided, it was a go from there. Eventually, once we started clicking up, he found out that a longtime friend was my cousin, and from there it was like a stronger bond as well, because now it was like
a family time.
Yeah. So as we started to go and understand, because when I do client work, I have to have a better understanding of them, so I can articulate what they feel and know
you gotta kind of get
better than they can.
Yeah.
So from the times we interacted and stuff, it was interesting. I found out he has the same birthday as me, which was December 15th, Sagittarius game. I found out he had his appendix taken out when he was young, or because it ruptured, just like me. I also found out he had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck, like me. So it was really freaky.
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't nothing but God to even bring all this together like this, all of these different things. And I created the piece
well, I started creating it is for a music project is coming out soon, I believe, called Hieroglyphics 2. I started conducting it, and this was honestly the longest piece I ever worked on. Knowing now just how it all transgressed, I understand why it took so long, because like I said, I was putting 20 plus years of knowledge. So putting that and working on it, it was ever changing. Like I have like the documentation of how it looked. The whole image of it probably changed like 3 or 4 times before it got to the final process of what people seen.
Right.
And I kept me indulging in all of my references and knowledge too, on top of what I was trying to convey within the piece. The message of it was life-changing. All he told me was he wanted it to be centered around a strong black woman, but he specified he wanted it to be in Kemet. Kemet was what is known as present-day Egypt. Kemet was the leader of that area. It's called the Land of Blacks. And just me doing more research too, there's something called alchemy, which is magic and science put together. And if you cross-reference with, well, not dictionary, but just understanding literature, then it's like alchemy, which is alchemy. So it could be origination place type thing of them knowing about this. Just a side example of even me coming to that assumption is literature itself is a form of art. In school, it's not called English, it's called language arts, pretty much your whole educational career. Music is a form of art, and I wanted all of those 3 principles to be conveyed within the piece too. So the meaning of it and what was trying to be conveyed within the message, it all clicked together. So it's a really beautiful piece, and it was, if I believe, my 4th oil painting, but my 2nd large-scale oil painting. So it was really life-changing, because to go into more detail of once I started gathering all this information, it started to evolve me as well, from mind, body, and spirit too, because mind you, I've already been on my spiritual journeys. September will be 4 years on my spiritual journey. 3 years I've been regrowing my hair since I cut it all off to start on my new journey, and 2 years of not having no consumption of meat. So, and this would be like the first year of executing all of them. So it's interesting. But yeah, you know, to have a piece like this really evolve every aspect of who I am made me grateful and solidify all of the work, blood, sweat, and tears, everything I sacrificed to get to this point that I'm at now with it. Man.
So how many hours did you put into this project?
I couldn't give you a number. How many hours I put into this project, or any of them, or from the time I started up until now. I can't give you a number, since it's infinite as far as I can
call it, honestly. It gets to points where I don't even remind myself to eat or go to the bathroom. Like, it's a serenity, peace that if you know it, then you know it. Don't. It's something that you have to come to know, and that doesn't mean that you have to be an actual artist to understand this.
Right.
You can see this if you
Just have to understand life.
have an understanding of the perspective
Yeah.
of all of the different dynamics that I'm trying to express. Life is an expression of art. Music is the flow of time, and a literature is our history of art. And symbols is a combination of all of those put together, and a symbol is just basically art. So a symbol is art, and art is art, so it makes a full circle. Everything always makes a full circle. Yeah.
So how was it like? What was the feeling of when you finally completed the last finishing details and was able to present it to him?
I don't know how many times I just broke down and was just humble and grateful for what I created. It's even the piece I did before, the self-portrait with the homie and the Americani flowers around them.
Yeah, no, that one was tight too.
Like, each little piece gets better and better as I continue. They say the finest diamonds are crafted by the strongest pressure. I feel that in life as well as art too, because each time I do something new is overcoming adversity and having to make alterations and variations to each piece and trying to get a varied outcome. So it's a lesson each time. So I take that and apply that full circle. It makes sense for me. Definitely.
And what are you currently working on?
As far as plans, within the next few years, well, not few years, I'll say by the end of this year, I want to have my first art show or conduct, let's say it the right way. Have a few more next year as I continue to grow with the buzz. And as far as currently, I have a few hot new drops coming. I got this next masterpiece that I'm about to finish up and drop. This might be just as impactful. It might, I don't know. It might go toe to toe with the last one. I tell you that. It's getting bigger and bigger, like Future said. But I got some more, like I said, a little hot drops coming. Be on the lookout for those. But it's mainly just good acquired client work. I can't just do client work just to do it. Like, it has to, you gotta either have the bag or it gotta have like a meaning.
Exactly.
And I have to really sort through who actually wants to have their idea conjured onto
the canvas,
paper,
right? Whatever,
3 dimension, however you want to put it.
So that right there just leads me to ask, how do you want to see your art in the future, or how do you want your art to be comprehended when they see it?
Art is one of, just to talk about art and just in general too, because art is like main asset craft that I'm working, but I like to write. I just like to create. I'm a creator. That's what I am. So a lot of things that I probably do is gonna have some artistic form to it anyway. So I want my own shows, mangas, movies, anything that we have. If it can be articulated, I want to dibble and dabble in it. You know, my hands as an artisan. That's the definition. Crafters with the hands. I want to really create in this world, and I know how to actually convey, articulate, and conjure on top of that too. So putting that all together is me as well within it.
Right.
It can be done.
And I could just tell.
I mean, the best way I can say it is, I don't. I necessarily do. You know, you gotta crawl before you walk, but in a sense, I don't want my art in museums. I want my own museum. You get it?
Yeah.
That stature and everything all around. Anything I can do, I want to give it my all and create something that is unfathomable and has meaning to it.
Right.
So that's the goals and things I see set, you know. I see set for myself, you know. The greatest notion is to give, and that's my heart. So what that articulates into within this world, what my purpose is, I know it will happen in due time. So
Alright, well, I just want to, you know what I'm saying, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
For the first episode, you had a crack it off, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to give, you feel me, young entrepreneurs like yourself a voice and a platform to speak so people can see the artist behind the art, you know what I'm saying? Now everybody gets to know the story behind what they see.
Of course.
And that just makes you appreciate it so much more.
Man.
Like, I done seen these projects from scratch, so I know the work that you know what I mean, put into get your finished product. So
real blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, crazy. So again, I appreciate you. Go ahead and give your social media tags.
Oh, you know, right now the main handle that's being pushed, but just art and me, the things I do, my interests is the IG. The handle is Prolific Tez. So gifted. No, that's not part of it. It's just Prolific Tez.
They know what it is, though. They know what it is. Shout out Nip.
Long live the great.
But man, and then also I'm gonna have him on the feature page, on the iSociety feature artist page.
Indeed.
So I'm gonna have the Alpha and Omega piece up. I'm gonna have a description saying some good words. Thank you for your time, and I'm gonna have the interview linked on the bottom.
Indeed. Look out for the exclusive handcrafted prints and my site coming as well too.
Yeah, yes sir.
Going global real soon.
All right, bro. Thank you.
Till next time.
Yep.